Housing is one of Ghana's biggest development challenges. Ghana's housing deficit stands at 1.7 million, according to the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association. More than 15,000 housing units must be built each year for the next 10 years to deal with the problem. But with no strict policy to regulate the sector, the housing challenge continues to worsen, especially for low-income earning urban dwellers. In some parts of Accra, almost unimaginable affluence can be found side by side with nearly unthinkable poverty, a clear evidence of a gaping chasm between the rich and poor. This appears not to have eluded the two major political parties in Ghana, the NDC and the MPP. Hence, the two parties in the last 2 decades have come up with varied proposals in their manifestos in a bid to solve the country's accommodation deficit. For instance, the opposition MPP in their 2012 manifesto promised to build affordable housing units for rent across the country in partnership with GREDA. The housing agency will support the provision of affordable housing for Ghanaians eager to buy their own homes. Non-profit community-based housing development will be encouraged based on successful models in other countries. The governing NDC, on the other hand, promised to promote brick and tile manufacturing using the opportunity offered by the availability of natural gas offshore Ghana. Support the use of pozzolana cement in the construction of both public and private housing units. Set up standards for engineering infrastructure covering road, electricity, water, telephones, and fire hydrants to suit all communities and income groups. However, for some Ghanaians, both governments have done very little if you consider what they promised on paper. Nothing, perhaps, really depicts the country's housing problem more graphically than finding teenagers sleeping on the streets. But even more chilling is what I found in this slum, Sodom and Gomorrah, otherwise known as Old Fadama, the city's largest slum. Most people living here are migrants from the north who have come to Accra in search of better prospects, but only a few of them live the better life they seek. From dirty streets, choked gutters, and flimsy structures, poverty is all too obvious here. I have come to meet 17-year-old Nihad. Nihad is a senior high school graduate from Yendi in the northern region. She is here to find money to further her education. She has been living and working as a head porter for almost a year. Back in Yendi, Nihad was sharing a room with 2 people, her mom and sister. But here at Old Fadama, the number of people she shares a room with has increased significantly. It's akin to prison conditions. There is no mattress in this room. They sleep on racks and mats. More than 12 people live in this room. I have been here for almost 10 minutes and I am already suffocating because there is intense heat in this room. Even with this fan up here, the heat is still unbearable. 12 people in this room every night, and this is how they sleep. One sleeps at the other side, the other sleeps at the left side, the other sleeps at the right side, but you have to put your legs on the other person you're sleeping close to because the room is not big enough. And perhaps nothing really mirrors Ghana's accommodation problem, the severity of Ghana's accommodation problem, than the condition of young ladies like these Kayais who live here in Sodom and Gomorrah. And as Nihad explains, sharing a room with 12 people is difficult.
Sometimes you can get up and step on someone because you're a man in the room. The person will be insulting, shouting. Even if that is too late, like 12, 11, 10, 1, and the person got up, the person will be insulting because you step on her. Sometimes if there is light up, we'll just be lying down here because the way we're men in the room, we can't sleep in the room. So some would come out and some would be in the room. Even those in the room today cannot sleep because of the warm.
Her friend, who has lived here for only 2 months, shares similar concerns.
I
thought there were many rooms available for everyone who needed shelter.
But
when I came, I realized that many people were sharing single rooms.
But Nihad and hundreds of other people are living here because they cannot afford the escalating and prohibitive rent charges in Accra. For residents in this slum, living in a decent accommodation remains a distant dream. This is Odoko, a very popular residential area in Accra. I meet petty trader Lydia Annan. She lives here. 19 people live in this house. They share the same bath but have no toilet, a common reality in many old homes in Accra. Lydia has been living here for almost 5 years.
Oh, a higher part to extend say be a matching would and we a problem Casiepa. Inti Yama got I die nemuno, a man for to toilet in idea instead of toilet in so bang.
The lack of toilets in this house is a big problem for us. For instance, if you are suffering from a stomach upset at dawn, that can be a trying moment for you if you live in this house. People continue to dump fecal matter in the gutter in front of this house due to the lack of toilets here. There's a public toilet close by, but they keep dumping it in the gutter. And even at the public toilet, they don't keep the place tidy, so I always feel uncomfortable using it.
I just hold my agent. Agent, you know, so we do with Casa on Sakan. So when I get there, I was a gun cry. Would have been my Nipano, Echino, Bis Befish, Yakochia, now the Sikanaye, Basani General problem.
In spite of this, finding a room in Nodoko can be a mountainous task. You can only get a room through an agent, and most of them are not trustworthy. They can take your money and spend it without getting a room for you.
So many meters, 700. 70 Ghana. Say 2 years in a tsunami pair, Namasama 2 years.
It's not up to me to determine whether we have done enough or not. It's up to the people of Ghana and the programs that we are putting in place to help reduce the deficits. And so I'm not in a position to say yes or no to what we have done. Through government-private partnership arrangements with Angle Resources, we are also doing 10,000 housing units at Amasaman. We have also collaborated with Sati Real Estate to do also 10,000 housing units. They have completed about the 500 units ready. It's on the market now for sale.
It is very sad that today, as a nation, we have this huge housing deficit and we are not doing much about it. People continue to get married and continue to produce children, and our population continue to increase. Housing for the people is not going to stop. It's not a project where you call a contractor, give him a project, and he executes 1,000 houses, and then he walks away, and you think you have done something.